Okay, all right, here we go. I'm ready to make this video. Okay, so I want to talk about 5 things that I've learned in the last 3 months on alternate day fasting, and to give you an update, an exciting update, and I'm serious about that, at least I'm excited about it. Exciting update about where I'm at after 3 months of fasting. So, 5 things I've learned about alternate day fasting, or about myself, as I've been going through this 3-month journey of alternate day fasting. And the first thing is that you need to fit your diet into your lifestyle. And this is one of the great things about fasting, is that you can very easily fit it into your lifestyle, as opposed to trying to do some other kind of calorie restriction diet, or some kind of, you can only eat fats or protein, or you can only eat carbs or whatever. Those diets tend to be really hard, at least for me personally, to fit into my lifestyle, because when I've done like a calorie restriction diet, you go to a birthday party and you can't eat cake. You go to a wedding and you can't eat cake. You just can't eat cake, basically. I mean, if you want to celebrate something, you're gonna fall off the train, you're going to get off your diet, you're going to feel guilty about it, and it's really hard. It's really hard to, even I tried doing the keto diet, and I actually enjoyed doing the keto diet, but I don't have enough money to buy meat every day and just not eat bread and not eat carbs and stuff like that. So for me, keto didn't really fit my lifestyle, because I'm not freaking rich, not made of money. Okay? I know it looks like I'm made of money. I mean, I can understand why someone would just look at me and be like, that guy's stinking rich. But it's just not true. So that's one of the reasons why I don't do keto. Also, I love cheesecake and bread. I just love that stuff too much to give it up forever. So that's why I didn't do that. Now, I found with alternate day fasting that I can fit it into my lifestyle much better. And one of the ways that I do that is that I'm actually not super strict about the alternate day thing, okay? So sometimes what I do, like, let me give you an example. This last week, I ate on Sunday, fasted on Monday, ate on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, I took my family up to the Mariners game up in Seattle. And I was not going to fast during the Mariners game. I was going to enjoy some food. So I skipped breakfast that morning, and then I ate lunch at the game, and we had dinner after the game. And that was fine. And then the next day, Thursday, I fasted. Now, that meant that I had Tuesday and Wednesday, technically, I was not fasting on those days. And it worked out just fine. And I didn't have any feelings of guilt about not fasting for 2 days or anything like that. And I just adjusted things a little bit, so I didn't eat breakfast in the morning on Tuesday night before going to the game on Wednesday. I didn't eat after dinner. So technically I was kind of doing intermittent fasting during that time period. And then the same thing is true on the weekends. I don't get to eat dinners with my family during the week because I work in the evening. So on the weekends I don't really want to be fasting for dinner, so I don't. I eat dinner on Saturday and Sunday, but I usually skip breakfast and lunch on both of those days, or maybe I'll have like a salad for lunch or something really small that isn't very calorie dense or anything like that. And I have continued to lose weight the whole time. I haven't been exercising, and in that way I've fit the diet into my lifestyle. And that's the really nice thing about alternate day fasting or intermittent fasting or anything like that. If you are going to go to a wedding, or you're going to go to a party or something like that, and you want to just enjoy it and not be stressed out and not worry that your diet is going to be ruined, you can go ahead and enjoy yourself and then make up for it by fasting maybe a little bit more. Or just planning ahead. Say, I'm going to go to a party tonight, so I'm not going to eat breakfast today, or I'm not going to eat breakfast and lunch today, so that I can enjoy having cake or whatever. So that's what I like about this diet, is that I can adjust it according to what my life brings into me, and I'm not worried about it that much. So that's great. The other thing that I like about this is that generally speaking, diets don't work. And this is what my experience was, and this has been the experience of people, for years and years and years. You've heard of yo-yo dieting, and people go on a diet and they lose a bunch of weight, and then they go off their diet and they gain all the weight back. And there's a reason there's no Biggest Loser reunion shows, and that's because most of them gain all that weight back. And in some cases, these people can't get that weight to come back off after they've gained it back. And it's really quite sad and discouraging for them. So generally speaking, dieting in that sense doesn't really work, because once you go off the diet, you're going to gain all that weight back. In a sense, I'm not dieting, I'm just fasting. I'm just not eating. So it's simple, and I can do it as much or as little as I want to, and I can still eat. I still eat all the food that I want to on my feasting days, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. The other thing that I've learned over the last 3 months is that I actually appreciate food more. If you're eating all day, every day, kind of like I was, because that's just the way I was, you tend to not really appreciate the food that you have that much. I've actually found that on the mornings of my feasting days, I really appreciate breakfast. Food actually tastes better because I haven't been eating for 24 hours or for 36 hours. And so food tastes better, I appreciate it more, and that's been really interesting, because I didn't necessarily expect that to be the case. You kind of take it for granted when you're eating all the time. You take it for granted how good food tastes and how good it is, and so really it makes me more thankful for the food that I have. Another thing that I've noticed is that I actually feel better, generally speaking, I feel better on my fasting days. Even though I'm still hungry, I feel more alert. I feel like I'm a little bit sharper in my mind. I know that that's hard to believe, that I could actually be sharper in my head, but it's true. I'm just kidding there. I actually feel like I'm not as foggy on my fasting days. And maybe that's because of the types of food that I eat on my non-fasting days. I don't gorge myself on ice cream and cake or anything like that, but I eat carbs on my non-fasting days. And I've thought, okay, maybe I could cut down on the carbs a little bit more, probably not go strict keto or anything like that, but maybe eat a little bit less sugar. And that may be something that I'm going to try in the future. But I actually feel really good on my fasting days, and it's gotten easier as I've gone on. And that's kind of the last thing, the fifth thing that I've learned, is that fasting gets easier. The more you do it, the easier it gets to just not eat. And I find that as long as I keep myself busy during the day when I'm fasting, I tend to not even think about food. I drink my water, and I go about my business, I do my work and stuff like that, and I don't really necessarily think about food very much. Now, what's interesting is at the very beginning of this 3-month period, on my fasting days, I would think constantly about food. And I usually make breakfast for my family in the morning, and I would make breakfast for my kids. I'd be cooking whatever, pancakes or waffles or whatever it is I'm making, and I would have to actually stop myself from eating some of it, because it was just so natural to just eat what I'm making for them. Just try it and whatever. And I don't do that anymore. I just actually, as I was talking about this right now, I realized that when I'm cooking food on my fast days, I don't actually want to eat the food necessarily. I don't even really think about it anymore. And before, it was just so natural to just eat it. And that's really changed. So that's been really interesting too. So those are the 5 things that immediately kind of popped out at me as I was thinking about this video, this update. that I've learned over the last 3 months. Now, the update. I know you've just been dying to know what the update is, because in my last video I had mentioned that I was a little bit discouraged at the time, and I had lost about 8 or 9 pounds. I've gone from 220 down to 211, 212. I've kind of been stuck at 211, 212 for about 3 weeks actually. And one of my subscribers had commented that maybe I should stop eating at night. And I've had that in the back of my mind, because the reason I eat at night fairly late, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, is because I work late, and I don't have a break for dinner when I'm working. So that's why I do that. So I've actually thought in my mind, okay, I could probably cut out that evening meal, even if it's something small. But I thought, for the time being, I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to see if this plateau goes away, and I can, make some progress in the next couple weeks. So I got on the scale this morning, and I weighed in at 206.4 without making any changes. So that means I've lost 13.5 pounds over the last 3 months without exercise, without really restricting what I eat on my eating days. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty exciting to me. So that's the exciting update, folks. 13.5 pounds in, 12 weeks without exercising, without restricting any eating on my fasting days, and that's been pretty cool. So I wanted to also mention real quick that there's a really, really good book that I would recommend to anybody who's interested in alternate day fasting. I haven't actually read a lot of books on this subject. I've more or less watched a few YouTube videos and then just been experimenting with this over the last few months. And the book is called The Complete Guide to Fasting, and it's written by 2 doctors who, one of which he said he was like over 400 pounds, and he got down to healthy weight using fasting and dieting. He does keto. His name's Jimmy Moore, and he has a podcast. He seems to be one of the authorities in this field. But The Complete Guide to Fasting, really, really excellent book. I've read it twice already. Okay, I don't read, actually. I can't read. I'm actually illiterate, so I listen to audiobooks. That's not true. I can read. Just kidding. But that's a really, really good book if you're interested in learning more about fasting and the benefits of it. So check that out. Also, I mentioned in my last video that I'm going to do a 2-day fast, and I am, but I've had some family in town, so I didn't want to do an extended fast while they're here. So I will be doing that probably within the next week, and I'll post a video before I do that, and then I'll post some updates probably during that fast as well, so you can follow and see how sickly and thin I get when I fast for 48 hours straight. So, like this, subscribe, shoot me a comment, ask me a question, and share this with your friends. Show it to your pet iguana or something, because I said so. See you next time.